And welcome to another Nothing Like a Good Book. Ladies and gentlemen, lovely to have you. Vladimir Ingerman is my next author on this show. He was born in the Soviet Union, and his journey, boy, what a journey. It started in field expedition of Tajikistan, transitioned into scientific circles in Moscow. Later, he led the exploration and development of oil and gas fields way back in Western Siberia, and eventually traveled across the world to the United States. Having explored 74 countries, and he swam in 55 seas and oceans and participated in a yacht trip around the globe. Boy, has this guy lived. He lived in various countries across different centuries and areas as well, experiencing life under socialism and capitalism. Interesting. He's observed diverse societal layers of cultures and a wide range of geographical and climatic conditions, as he puts it. Well, Vladimir Ingerman, welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
I'm going to ask you, which is better, socialism or capitalism?
It's impossible to answer each. And socialism and capitalism have a lot of good stuff and a lot of bad stuff. Some stuff much better in socialism. For example, in Soviet Union, it was free education, free medicine, and most people were very patriotic, including myself. And by the way, medicine was very good quality, the same as the education. And medicine was not a business. The doctor came to the house if you're sick. They push you to do some prophylactics and so far.
Right.
And the same with education. But it was a bad thing. It was, as we found later, that it was dictatorships.
That's right, dictatorships. There were some good things about it. It's usually on the medical side of it. But let's face it, you're not going to stay long in that because you were big into capitalism. You founded the Amros Corporation in 94. And the Amros Corporation, you developed an innovative solution called shale vision technology. This is to enable operators to identify locations of high potential wells while avoiding unproductive ones. This potentially tripling production and recovery efficiency. So you know all about both sides of things. And beyond these huge economic benefits, shale vision is also an eco-friendly technology that significantly reduces the environmental impact, which is good to know. And operators can pump much less water, propellants, and various chemicals under the ground and maintain the same production. So, a very interesting background and a professional businessman. So that answers the capitalism and the other. Here's the deal. Your first book, let's talk about you being an author. It was a professional work titled Computerized Interruption of the Results of Geophysical Wells Surveys. So it sort of marked the early stages of the digital revolution in the oil and gas industry in the Soviet Union, and apparently it addressed an urgent need at the time. Tell us a little bit more about that, if you would.
I used to work in Western Siberia. It was a region that provide like 70% oil and gas of all Soviet Union. And we drill a lot of wells, thousands, actually more than millions wells. And it was physically impossible to educate so many people to provide interpretation of results of geophysical wells surveys. So only well was digitized, and I was on this wave of not digitizing and computerizing. So I was in this first wave implementation computers to oil and gas industry, and we were very successful. We made the system, and this system was used like for more than 1 million wells.
Wow. Well, it was pretty popular. I think it sold out in just about 2 weeks. It gained remarkable traction. And that was the first book, Computerized Interpretation of the Results of Geophysical Wells surveys. It's a mouthful. Your second book, an autobiography titled About Myself, Time and Geophysics. Now, this was published in the Russian language, but it's now available on Amazon. Is that, we're talking English on Amazon, yes?
No, it's in Russian on Amazon.
Oh, it's in the Russian. Okay. I wonder how many are in Russian. I've never seen that part of it. All right. So how many Russians are in the U.S.? Quite a few, I gather. But it was sold all around the world anyway, wasn't it? This third book, the one we're on about, it's primarily, well, it was written primarily for yourself and your family. But to your surprise, it received enthusiastic reviews that you didn't expect. Now, we'll get into the book in a moment, but how do you feel about that?
No, actually, I wrote this book because I had a lot of free time during COVID, and it was very interesting research for myself because it was so many time passed, and I really have a very good life, and I still have. And I start just try to memorize what's happened and then describe it, just mostly for myself, because it's big pleasure to be able to read about what's happened in your life and to see the pictures. And then it was published just 100 copies in Moscow. And but according to the rule, they sent it some to a few libraries, and I received, for example, I found on internet a review on one young lady, 29 years old, and she wrote that this is a book about happiness. I never thought about this, but she wrote a great review that nature of our life and happiness, and this is what I wrote about. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was a surprise for me.
Well, you've been fortunate enough to be able to do all the wonderful things that you've done, traveled around the world, as you say, all these seas you've swum in, you've ridden elephants, you've whitewater rafted places. I mean, you've done so much. A lot of it's in the book. I could sit here all day and talk about what you've done. So it is vibrant, but at the end of the day, you've written about what you've done in life. You know, others could do it too. Anybody could sit down and write a book about the wonderful things that they've done in their life. And this is a good lesson for them to be able to do that, any budding author. I mean, it's the science of a vibrant life that you've published. You're going to discover in this book 150 pages alongside 102 original photos. You know, and it's all about how you've stayed healthy and active well into your 80s, okay? And that's good. The fascinating connection between the mind and the limitless health. Yes, no doubt about it, being physical and trying to do as much as you can, the healing power of exercise. I guess you could say, Vladimir, it's a roadmap to life without relying on drugs and, you know, insights into, I think you had 41 cool hikes, travels across 30 countries. So the book is really a blend of personal experience, science, and inspiration for anyone seeking a fulfilling, vibrant life. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Well, historical events, and you do give special thanks to it. The book is called Living a Good Life, Longevity Redefined. Depending what country, longevity redefined. Yeah, okay. So you're fit and healthy and well into 88. So you're doing well. What motivated you then to write the book? Was it to share for other people to be able to do the same, that they too could be healthy at their age, at your age?
Tell the truth, I never thought that my life could be example for somebody. I just live a good life and I enjoy life, and I guess we was born to be happy. And but after 70s, I have a lot of friends that much younger than I am. So I am elder than their parents. a few cases. And my friends told me then they compare me with their parents, my lifestyle and their parents' lifestyle, and they told me then I should share my experience. I initially thought, what's the experience? I just live how I want to live. But then they persuaded me to write something about why I'm doing great in my 80s. And they told me that my experience could be useful for millions. And I like to do something good for people if I can. So I just follow advice of my friends.
You talk about, we touched on it earlier. You smart enough to write your first book, which sold obviously a lot. You made good money. You're in business, the drilling business, all those wells and everything you've been involved in. You've got to say that privately and corporately, you're very successful. All right, you've made a lot of money, yes?
No, it depends what to count as a lot.
Okay, what I'm getting at is this: is that you're in a position perhaps to take off and travel the world and do a lot more than the average wood duck would have, like me, who works for a living right all the way through and doesn't get a chance to be able to, take off and just do all those things if you wanted to, because it costs money to do that stuff. I don't care what anybody says. You still got to get to places. But at the end of the day, there's still no excuses for anybody at 70 or 75 or 80 or 85 to at least do some form of exercise, correct?
Yes.
And that's the important thing, is to stay healthy. So the book is about your experiences. It's a fascinating book. I mean, you've done a lot of wonderful things in there. It's amazing what you've covered, what you've done. The pictures alone tell, 1,000 words. But you accredit it to what? What do you accredit that desire, that drive to want to do all the stuff that you did?
Let me start from what you said initially, that I have financial opportunity to travel, and many people don't have it. That's correct. But it's not necessary to travel Far East or Africa or whatever. In each country, there are a lot of beautiful places. When I was in Soviet Union, I traveled across the actually it was closed country. I couldn't go out. Mm-hmm. But Soviet is a huge country, Soviet Union, and now Russia, and there are a lot to see. The same in the United States. National parks of the United States, it's brilliant. You can spend all your vacations together, just watch national park in the United States. But at the same time, there are a lot of people that have financial capability. I work in oil industry, and most people have a good salary. And when we talk about travel, they told very typical answer, I'm busy now, I'm working, I will go, when I start retire, I will travel.
Fair enough.
And this
fair
is
enough. Okay, yeah, so you made your mind up that once you retired, you work hard, but once you're retired, that's it. I'm not just going to sit around. I'm going to do stuff, right?
Yeah, but I don't think this is a good position, because every year you should see something new. And especially if you have money, why you postpone it? And in most cases, these people, when they retire, then they have a bad physical condition and they're not capable to travel. Mm-hmm. And so this is, okay. I just advise them, don't waste time. Use your vacation as much as you can.
So how did you manage great physical and mental shape then in your age, do you think? What did you do that's different?
No, in Soviet Union where I grew up, it was a sport culture. Boys like me in school and the college, we all used different sports section. And it was, I like sport, I like competition. And since I compete in my college, I compete in boxing. I still keep going because like boxing or gymnastics, I used gymnastics before. It's not just exercises. You should be in good shape, and we have a good coaches, and the coaches told us about morning exercise, and I still doing my morning exercise approximately the same as I did when I was in college.
Wow. Well, that says something, doesn't it? I mean, what do you think about modern medicine then?
Modern medicine, no, we have great doctors in the United States. We have a great equipment, but it's business. And just look around. In each corner, you see Walgreens or another drugstore. And I don't know, is it right or not, but most people told me that average American, like if you're 60, you take 6 pills per day. If you're 80, you take 8 pills per day. I go to the doctor very rare, just 1 time per year for a checkup, and they ask me what medicine I take, and when I said no medicine, they're really surprised.
Right.
But meantime, my father, he was a great doctor, and he told me that each medicine they had side effect.
Yeah.
No exception. No exception.
No exception. Well, what about proper nutrition? What are your thoughts on that?
Proper nutrition, again, I never use diet. I believe my body. My father told me that medicine canons change. Like it was period was, according to medicine, the butter was extremely bad for your health. Then in 20 years, they made new research and said, oh, it's good. And for example, I always drink water before I eat since my childhood.
Okay, that's
and
an interesting one.
My father told me, it's not correct. According to medicine, you should drink after you eat. I said, but I won't drink before. And then, I guess in the United States, I found research that drink water before you eat, it's very useful. But so this is from one side. The medicine, they don't know exactly. They say today, completely opposite that they say 10 years ago.
Yeah, you don't know you don't know who to trust or what. But we do know one thing: if you keep healthy, eat correctly, the best that you can. Don't eat a lot of fatty foods. Keep your weight down. Do exercise, right? And try and do the basics and all of these things. And then if one is fortunate enough to get out there and do half of what you've done, you're going to stay fit to a certain degree, aren't you?
No, it's good, but it's not enough. I believe the most critical your mental asset. You should be, you know, the most our limitation came from us. You met a lot of people who said, oh, I'm 60, I cannot learn this. Oh, I'm 65, I cannot play tennis.
No.
I'm 65. Yeah. So people make limitation just without any reason. And if you think that, I'm senior, I'm old, you will be senior, you will be very old, and you will die soon.
All right. So what I'm hearing you say is mind over matter. Doesn't matter what age you are. Keep pumping along and keep that brain active. And, you know, it's what you think is what you are. And therefore, lay off the alcohol. That doesn't help, correct?
You ask about alcohol?
Yeah, it doesn't help, does it?
It does help. But it depends how much you drink.
In moderation.
I drink, I would say, maybe 3-4 times per week from wine.
Wine.
Vodka.
Oh,
cognac.
and cognac, of course, cognac.
But it's matter how much you drink. I drink maybe one glass of wine or
Okay.
three shot of vodka. It's like 25 gram each shot. And it's, again, each drink matched with food. For example, if you have a good lamb or steak, red wine, very good match. But if you have some Russian food, I will not tell the name because I don't know exactly translate, like borscht, maybe pelmeni. So this food requests vodka. This is a culture, but alcohol can bring a lot of damage if you drink too much. And many people, unfortunately, don't know the limit. Everybody should know your limit. Like Indian in Australia or United States, they're genetic different and they getting drunk from the first shot. So they should not drink at all because they have a little different medical condition. Actually, my father told me that we're all different. Like, it's not just about alcohol, but everything. Something that's good for one guy could be bad for another guy.
That's right. That's right.
So this is why we need to listen to your body.
Yeah, well, in your book, Living a Good Life, Longevity Redefined, you talk about alcohol, you believe in physical, hardening of the body, strengthening yourself where you can, exercise, and particularly exercising the mind, right? I think that's a good thing, from crosswords to all sorts of things. As you get older, keep working the mind, yes?
Mark, let me interrupt you a little bit. Not exercising the mind. The mind, I guess, you should have young mind. You should always think about yourself like about young men. I'm 84. I never thought about myself as a senior. I don't know why. I don't feel as a senior. I know after my friend told me that I should share my experience, I start read, and I read academic Bechtereva. She's dedicated her life learning our brain. And she and another researchers, they said that mind, but very important that you have a young mind. So you should think about yourself as a young man,
person, right? Don't think old. I understand. Person. I know what you're saying. You are as you believe. You are as you think. Think young. You'll be younger, like the young men. So
that's
young
right.
men.
That's right.
Young men have good social connections, don't they? Young men, and they travel a little bit. So you would recommend those two definitely, yes?
Yes, and dancing. Dancing is a great, very, very
dancing.
Great.
Yes, dancing is fantastic, isn't it, for the body, right?
Yeah, dancing is an exercise, but it's not just exercise. It have a mental component.
Right.
It's some kind of inspiration.
Right.
And it's inspiration plus physical activities. It's great pleasure, and it's much more effective than just walking. Walking is great. I like walk, but if I have chance to dance, I always dance.
Dancing keeps you young, there's no doubt about it. A couple of excerpts I've read about, some accolades you've received. This particular one is I started reading and I experienced great pleasure. It is so easy to read with vivid pictures from life, carrying the emotions of youth, positivity, and energy. Thank you for this book. Happiness is living. This book is cozy. When I read it, I felt a warm sense of comfort. The book stood out for its cheerfulness, kindness, warmth, historical nuggets, and anecdotes from the life of a remarkable person. So after many, many years, you managed to painstakingly assemble the mosaic of your personal chronicle into one full picture. recreating the living tape of your days. Well, that was rather nice and nicely put too. So, it's what people get from books. Everybody's different. Everybody's unique. As my grandmother used to say, that's what makes horse racing. It'd be pretty boring if we're all the same, right? So the reality is your writing and what you've done in your best way is a comfort to others. Maybe it motivates them. Maybe it gives them hope. Maybe it puts them on a different track. But the book is simply called Living a Good Life, Longevity Redefined. And it's written by a gentleman called Vladimir Ingerman. Vladimir Ingerman. And the website is amros.us, amros.us. And he's on LinkedIn, on linkedin.com/in/Ingerman. And, of course, Twitter and so on. But let's talk about where you can buy this book, Vladimir. Do you have that site? Can you buy directly off your site?
No, the site that you stole, it's my professional site. It's mostly about oil and gas.
That's that one. That's Amros. That's what I thought. What's the one for the book then?
I have a personal website. It's called ingermanlive.com, but it's not... I will do it a little later, that people will be able to buy book direct from website.
Okay, all right. Well, some authors are doing that now. Right, but it's on Amazon, okay? And that's important. That's where my readers can, my listeners can go to. Is it in Barnes & Noble yet or some other, or just Amazon?
Just Amazon right now, but it's four formats in Amazon. It's Kindle, paperback, hard copy, and audio.
Right, audio book. Is the audio book in your English like this, or is it in Russian?
No, it's in English. I hired a gentleman who has a great English, no accent like me. So
okay,
it's good English.
All right, so it's an audio book done by a different person.
Yes.
Right, good. Maybe I'll get to do a few of these one day. Let me think. What else would I like to ask you? You're living now in the U.S. How just a little out of left field, you are living in the U.S., correct?
Yeah, I'm already in the U.S. 35 years.
35 years here now. When you see the news as it is today and what happened with Ukraine, a lot of people don't know the back history of Ukraine and Russia, but just off the top and a brief point of view, where do you sit with this?
No, actually, it's crazy war. I completely agree with our president that it should be stopped as soon as possible.
You agree with President Trump, yes, but therefore,
of course,
therefore you do not agree with Putin?
I cannot say this way. Putin tell a lot of right things, a lot of not right things, so it's not simple question. But
no.
I've been in Ukraine many times when I lived in Soviet Union. It was a part of Soviet Union. This is the same people. I understand Ukrainian, even I never learned it because it's very close to Russians. And most Ukrainians speak pure Russians. I would tell you more. I would say maybe 50% families in Russia mixed with Ukrainians and vice versa.
That's why I can't understand why this is happening.
This is actually one national. The Christianity to Russia came from Kiev.
Yes.
Actually, but it's the same people, the same culture, the same language, the same religion. So the war, it's terrible. And I believe, I agree with what our President Trump said, that it was fabricated mostly by United States, the previous administration. And I'm very sorry that Ukrainian government and Russian government just follow these provocations from our country. Well, and I hope it will be stopped soon.
Yes, very soon, before any more bloodshed. It's just so sad. Dear, oh dear, but a lot of history in that. But Vladimir Ingerman, your book is going to do well from a point of view of, I think it's a psychological motivator, to be honest with you. It's full of photographs of things that I would give, a lot of people in life would give their right arm for just to do half of them. And you can do them. You can do them at age, keep it in mind. It's worth having a look at, worth having a good read of, and maybe you can get something out of it. What was it called again? Living a Good Life, Longevity Redefined, all right? And it's on Amazon, just Amazon. So look it up, have a cup of joe and in your bodgies, and you can have a good look at it there. Thank you, Vladimir. Appreciate your time. I wish you all the very best with this one, and who knows where it could end up, okay?
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you.
You're most welcome. All right. Goodbye now.
Bye-bye.